Listening activity number 1.
You are going to hear a conversation. Look at questions 1 to 10. Now listen to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 10. Two 7785 Sports Centre.
Hi, is that you, Charles? How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you? Linda, I'm so glad that you phoned. How's your art study in London?
Fine. Everything is going on quite well. And how's your teaching?
Okay. The students are very good, and they're keen on the tennis lesson. Oh, did I tell you about my trip to London?
Yes. When are you coming?
I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon at 2. My flight number is BA207, and I will get to the Heathrow Airport at 4.
Flight BA207 at 4 tomorrow. Fine.
Linda, can you meet me at the airport tomorrow?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I can't meet you at that time, because I have to bring my mother home from hospital. She was in the hospital for a week, and the doctor phoned me this morning.
I see. It's all right. I can manage to find your place by myself.
Well, Charles, my neighbour Peter Wilson has kindly offered to meet you and take you home by car.
Oh, it's good. But I hope it doesn't cause you any trouble.
Oh, no. Mr. Wilson is a flight attendant. He works at the Heathrow Airport.
I see. But I don't know him.
Yeah, as you have never met him before, I shall describe him to you.
That will help. Hang on a second, and I will get a pen and a piece of paper to write them down. OK, tell me what he looks like.
He's about 37, I think, a middle-aged man. He's about 1 metre 70 centimetres tall, and medium build. He has a weather-beaten face with red cheeks and big nose. He has a thick beard as well as thick hair. His eyes twinkle, and he usually has a big smile. He seems to be a jolly man.
So, he's 1 metre 70 centimetres and medium build, red cheeks and a big nose. He has a thick beard and thick hair as well. I think I can recognise him.
I do hope you manage to recognise Peter without any difficulty, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Have a nice trip.
Thank you, Linda. I will see you tomorrow.
See you.
Charles is on the plane and is talking to the passenger next to him. Hi, I'm Charles.
I'm Susan Smith. This plane is very large and comfortable too.
Yes, the Boeing 747 is the largest passenger jet airline in the world. It's over 70 metres long with a wingspan of about 60 metres wide. You can see it's capable of taking up to 10 seats and 2 aisles. Its wide body soon earned it the name of Jumbo Jet.
Oh, I see. Are you an engineer?
No, I'm a teacher, but I'm interested in it. Have you ever travelled by Concorde?
No, I don't like to fly, and this is my first time flying. But I have heard about that plane when I was at school.
I see. Let me tell a bit about Concorde. The Anglo-French Concorde is much thinner and sleeker in appearance, with a far narrower cabin allowing only 4 seats across and only 1 aisle down the middle. In many other ways too, the Boeing is completely different from the Concorde. The Concorde, for example, is smaller than the Boeing 747. Its total length is under 26 metres.
How many passengers can the Boeing 747 take?
The Boeing 747, it takes up to 500 passengers.
500 passengers? That's quite a lot. And how many passengers does the Concorde take?
Concorde's normal capacity is 144. The Boeing 747 has a small upstairs lounge which is for first-class use only. The Boeing's flight deck is also on the 2nd floor, in front of the lounge. Both aircraft are similar in that they have 4 powerful engines. However, while there are 2 turbofan engines at the front of each of the Boeing's wings, there are 2 turbojet engines at the rear of each of Concorde's delta-shaped wings.
That's very interesting. What's the speed of Concorde?
The Concorde's great advantage is its speed. It is capable of flying long distances at supersonic speed. Its maximum cruising speed, for example, is 2,333
is in
kilometers
London
per
now.
hour.
He goes
Compared
to
with the
listen to a
Boeing
lecture
747
about an introduction to
978
Britain.
kilometers per hour.
Questions
Thus,
11 to
the
22
Concorde can half
are
the
based
time
on the
normally
lecture.
taken for journeys by the
Look at
Boeing
questions
747
11 to
and other
22.
conventional aircraft.
It's very nice to hear all this. I have learned something. Oh, we're moving now. I have to buckle my seat belt.
That is the end. Now listen to the lecture and answer questions 11 to 22. Britain is an island which is about the same size as New Zealand or Uganda. Australia is 60 times its size. It's just under 1,000 kilometres from north to south and about 500 kilometres across at its widest part. The climate is temperate and changeable. Its population is about 58 million, consisting of 48.5 million in England, 5 million in Scotland, 3 million in Wales, and 1.5 million in Northern Ireland. The majority of British people work in service industries such as trade, catering, tourism, TV, plus a wide variety of business services. About 20% work in manufacturing and 5% in construction. Then approximately 1.5% supply energy and water to other British citizens, while another 1.5% are involved in agriculture, forestry and fishing. Do-it-yourself, or DIY as it's known, is a popular leisure activity in Britain. Many people spend their weekends carrying out various improvements to their homes, such as replacing the kitchen cupboards or decorating a bedroom. Other people lovingly tend their gardens, growing shrubs, flowers and sometimes vegetables. Half of British households keep a pet of some kind, and a quarter of the population is involved in some sort of voluntary work, helping others in their spare time without being paid for what they do. One example of volunteer work is Meals on Wheels. Volunteer drivers collect prepared lunches from a centre and deliver them in their own cars to elderly people who are unable to leave their homes easily to buy food for themselves. The recipients of Meals on Wheels pay a small charge for their service to cover the cost of the food. Britain is an individualistic society, and people are often tolerant of other people's eccentricities. One can find those with special talents or unusual hobbies interesting, amusing, and even endearing. Common topics of conversation are weather, sports, current events, and what is planned for the next weekend, or what was done the previous one. British people have become more adventurous in their eating habits since they became a multiracial society. There are Chinese, Indian, Italian, French and Spanish restaurants in many towns and certainly in every city. Food served in pubs has also become more varied in recent years. However, the traditional fish and chips are still popular and are widely available from fish and chip shops all over the place. The British diet typically includes some sweet things such as cakes, biscuits and desserts. Many people struggle with the weight problem as a result. Newspapers in Britain can be divided into two main types, popular and serious. Popular papers are physically smaller and are more sensational in their reporting of the news. They are called tabloid papers. Serious newspapers are larger and attempt to report current events in a more analytical way. They are called broadsheet papers. Each newspaper has its own political affliction or bias. The Times, for example, generally supports the Conservative Party, whereas the Daily Mirror supports the Labour Party. Compulsory education begins at the age of 5 and finishes at the age of 16, with some students continuing their schooling until the age of 18, when they enter some form of higher education. The exams taken at age 16 are called GCSE, short for General Certificate of Secondary Education. Students often take 8 or 9 subjects at the GCSE level. The exams taken by 18-year-olds are the A level, short for Advanced Level. In general, Only 3 subjects are studied at A-level. Divorce is becoming increasingly common in Britain nowadays, and many non-married people cohabit or live together without getting married. There is a preference for smaller families, with the average household size being about 2 to 4 people. Approximately 70% of people own or are buying their own homes. Most people live in houses rather than flats. About 4 out of 5 choose to live in houses. The stereotype of a British person is someone who is reserved, polite, private, and perhaps rather cold and exclusive. This is certainly not true of all British people. In fact, many people in Britain are warm and humorous. They often laugh at themselves and try to see the funny side of life. British humour is frequently of a sarcastic kind. In sarcastic humour, mocking or ironic language is used to convey scorn or insult, but it should not be taken literally or seriously. The British person is simply pulling your leg. That is the end of section 2.